All right, we're back, and I'm over at the building at my mom's house. It's where I keep my press and my trailer and some stuff. It's kind of a shit show, but oh well. Look at there, that's the tire slayer way back in the background. But what I'm doing here is I'm going to press out some of these bearings. I'm not going to show every aspect of this. Real quick, I got my seal puller. I'm removing the counter shaft seal, one of the seals, and I'm putting that off to the side. But I thought I would start off with this. Real quick, I'm going to turn this over. This side, the counter shaft sprocket side, does not have any retainers on the inside here, but it does have one blind bearing here. I'm going to have to use a blind bearing puller, and it's going to be somewhat difficult to film this, but envision a piece going inside here that when I get it into position, I expand it, and it has hooks on the underside, and I use a slide hammer, and it looks like you're making the dirty motion. So I'm going to spare you that. I'm also going to have to do that on this counter shaft balancer bearing here, which they're on their way. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all these bearings, and that way I'll be staged for this. This video is going to be up after I show you some of the prep work for the top end, if I do this correctly, because I just did the video last night on the piston rings and getting them, the end gap properly clearanced, or at least how I properly clearanced them. I still have the dowel pin on this side. It's not being stubborn and not wanting to come out, so I'm going to leave it be. It wants to stay there. That's where it gets to stay. So I'm just going to sit here and stage this. I haven't done this yet, so I have a few of my sockets here that are kind of around the right size to push this down. This is going to go pretty quickly, I think. Let's see, is that going to fit? It's going to be a little bit too big. What about if we did this? That's still going to be setting up too high. Hold on a second. I'm going to use our tool here, and I'm going to, you're not going to probably be able to see it, but up here is the jack for the press. It's a real simple press. What I'm going to do is cause it to retract some, hopefully. That's the goal. Get back up there. There we go. Maybe that bought me enough room. It probably didn't. Might have did the opposite of that. Well, that's the way it goes sometimes. Let's see here. Just almost enough. All right. Well, let's see if it'll just push down far enough to where I can push this down. Again, we're doing this kind of on the fly, off the cuff. I'm just moving this jack handle by hand. I'm going to move this whole apparatus this way so it's lined up. I'm trying to get this centered. It's making contact. That should be plenty adequate. Get my handle and put it into the jack. Should press out like it's doing right now. It's coming right out. Boop. You know, I've done a setup like this where, oh, there it is. And so we've got that. I'm going to go ahead and retract the jack. There we go. Lock it back in. This piece out. And I'll do a few of them. I think I'll do the main shaft here. Oh, where did our bearing go? Yeah. this side came out. See, it's got the seal on this side. We're in here, so we're going to do this. Again, this doesn't have any retainers on it. Here's the main, our main crankshaft. The camera's a little crooked. Let me see here. I'm going to use, I had that out. Thought I had it set up here. Oh, there it is. My big old, what is that size? 42. It's a big one. That works good to push out these. I've used them before. I've got 2 of these, as a matter of fact. So that fits the rear axle nut for the GSXR 1000 and 750. So I'm just going to push it out with this. Yeah, that's squaring up. And I've pounded these out many times before I got this press. I used to actually have this at work. Just going nice and easy, and it's moving. It's pushing down. Do you see it moving down? It's going to have a little bit of tension release when it comes out. And there it goes. Going back up here with the release, and this is a very entry-level press. It's not much, but I'm not a real mechanic, so I don't need much. And when I use the blind bearing puller, just from my experience, I'll just use it on these because they can be a little wacky. And we will also, I'll do it at my house on this shift shaft bearing, which I have. So that's all I'm going to do with this side right now. What do you say I go to the other side and do a few of those for you? Again, it's kind of a mess in here, so give me a little bit of grace, or don't. I don't care. It'd be nicer if you did. Now, our other dowel pin comes out quite easily, so I'm going to put it back in the other side of the cases real quick. Again, I'm not going to do the full job here on camera. Before I get these transmission bearings out, I've got to remove the keepers on them. And these I broke loose yesterday. I hit them with a little bit of heat. These just hold the bearings in place. And this is the side of the cases that I clearanced on. You can see it right here. Pardon me. And I'm going to go ahead and, what do you say I push all these out for you, just so that you were a part of the process as much as possible. I said I wasn't going to initially, but I feel like that's the thing to do. So all of these I'll have to push out from the opposite side. All right. I'll take these. I should have gotten a baggie. But I'm just going to set them in the box for right now. So what do you say we start with the crankshaft bearing, and we'll push it out. Okay. Where'd that socket go that I was using? There it is. That process seemed to work pretty good. And so I'll be able to push all these bearings out. The other thing that I might not show on this is I'm going to have to remove the the oil pump out of here and inspect it, make sure it doesn't have any scoring or anything in there. When I do my clean out, I'm going to make sure when this is getting ready to go back together, I'm going to reprime it so it's got a little bit of oil in there. So let's see. Not getting any bigger. Oh, there it released big time. Nice and easy. It's going to push out, and we'll just reset. There it come out. Resetting the jack, and I got my other size of sockets here ready to push out the others, and we'll go ahead and move to that one right here. And I think this one will work just fine for it. I'm gonna have to support the back part of the case so it doesn't come off of here. You see how I'm using the wood blocks underneath here? That way I don't damage the case half surface over here against this hard steel. Well, it's kind of mild steel. My coworker, while he was working on the bottling line, trying to press a bearing out, he damaged the rails that this thing sits on. You can see here, it's all bent to heck. And I had to get a replacement piece, and he was supposed to reimburse me on that. Look at that, it just come right on out. And I ended up having to purchase my own replacement. Bingo. Push that one out. And that's when I decided to keep it at the shop I have access to. My brother and my dad, when he was still alive, my dad, they built this shop, and that's where we keep the boat and stuff, and now where I keep the trailer. It's just been such an awesome resource to be able to use on my moto adventures. Okay, that's just big enough, but could I get a little bigger one in there? Yeah, that'll be a little bit more stable. And that's our main shaft transmission bearing, the one that the clutch rides on. Clutch basket, that is. Move it just a little bit that way. Hope this is showing up on the camera real well. I don't get a preview after it starts recording. Okay. Coming right on down. Bingo. Pushing it right on out. And I'm keeping these bearings around because they will play a role when I press the new ones back in. Because we definitely don't want to be pushing out with the same technique that or reinstalling with the same technique, because we don't want to damage or put any shear force on the bearings from the inside. We want to push them in from the outside of the bearing, because that puts no shear force on the ball bearings. So we just have this one, and then I guess I might push this one out here. It won't put up much resistance. Let me see. Is it more this size? I suppose I can go in with this one. Yeah, we'll do that. And again, there's a lot more serious presses out there, and I've driven the first, oh good grief, half a dozen or so cases that I've split and replaced the bearings on. I've just pounded them out and pounded them in with a hammer and some different tools, and this is just, I mean, it's gratifying either way, but this is just a little less, this is a little less stressful. Yeah, that countershaft bearing didn't put up much resistance. That's nice. Bingo, come right out. Okay. Let me look here real quick. It always seems to release a certain smell out of the case. I'm going to make sure, I think, yeah, this does push out from this side. This pushes out because it seats up against here. So we'll push it out just for, I don't know, reasons. We might have to go and get a little creative with my positioning. Yeah, there we go. That should get it to it. Size it up. You won't be able to see it very well, but we should be able to gain access to it. How about we be fancy and use this piece, or what's that other one? Let's be fancy and use this. This won't put up much resistance. Watch it put up a lot of resistance. I didn't even have to, I just, simply the weight of this pushed it out. So there we go. There we go, guys. Here's this section of the cases here. There we go. Got all the bearings out of this side. Now we'll just use my blind bearing puller to get the countershaft balancer out. And this is the, if we're looking on this side, this is the main shaft of the transmission, the one that the clutch goes on. It's a blind bearing, so we'll have to remove those two with that piece of equipment on the other cases, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.